Welcome to the Gold IRA Blueprint. Ready to take a deep dive into how to secure your golden years? We've got a stack of insights from Gold IRA Blueprint experts to help you make smart choices about your retirement.
That's right. We'll be exploring what a gold IRA is and why you might want to consider adding one to your retirement portfolio.
So first things first, what exactly is a Gold IRA? It's not your typical retirement account, right?
Exactly. A gold IRA or a self-directed IRA lets you invest in physical, like those shiny gold coins and bars you might be picturing instead of just stocks and bonds. Think of it as diversifying your retirement savings beyond paper assets.
Interesting. So why would someone want to invest in a Gold IRA?
Well, one key reason is that gold has historically been a hedge against inflation. You know how prices for everyday things keep going up? That's inflation. Gold tends to hold its value even when the cost of living rises, potentially protecting your purchasing power over time.
So it's like a safety net for your savings.
Exactly. Remember the 2008 financial crisis? Gold prices jumped over 25% while the stock market plummeted.
Wow, that's a pretty compelling example. But how does it actually work? I mean, it's not like you get to keep stacks of gold bars at home, right?
That's where the role of a custodian comes in. A custodian is a financial institution approved by the IRS to hold your gold for you. They handle all the logistics, ensuring everything stays compliant with those ever-important IRS regulations.
It sounds like choosing the right custodian is a pretty big deal.
Absolutely. It can make a huge difference in your gold IRA experience. Fees, services, reputation, you'll want to research carefully before making a decision. And if you are feeling a bit overwhelmed already, there's a free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive that breaks down the whole process of choosing the right gold IRA company for you.
Okay, so we've got the custodian handling the gold, but how do you actually go about setting up a gold IRA?
It's a multi-step process. First, you choose your custodian, then you open a self-directed IRA. Once that's set up, you fund it maybe by rolling over funds from an existing retirement account.
Mhm.
Then you select your metals and make the purchase through your custodian.
So it's not something you can just do overnight.
Not really, and there are some important IRS rules and regulations to keep in mind. There are limits on how much you can contribute each year. Currently, $6,000 if you are under 50, and $7,000 if you are 50 or older. And there are also those required minimum distributions or RMDs, which kick in at age 72.
Right, you can't just forget about your gold forever.
Mhm.
Speaking of gold, what are some of the different types you can invest in with a gold IRA?
You have some choices. You can invest in gold bullion, which is basically gold bars or ingots. Then there are certain gold coins like the American Eagle and Canadian Maple Leaf that meet the IRS purity standards.
Sounds like you can build your own little treasure chest of gold. Are there any other precious metals you can include in a gold IRA?
Yes. Besides gold, you can invest in silver, platinum, and palladium. But just like with gold, they need to meet those IRS purity standards to be eligible for your IRA.
It's like having a whole rainbow of precious metals to choose from.
It is, and navigating the ins and outs of setting up and managing a gold IRA can seem complicated, but there are experts who can help. People like Kelly Click and Rand Millwood can guide you through the process.
That's great to know. It sounds like having an experienced guide can make the journey much smoother.
Exactly. And then there are companies like Augusta Precious Metals who have been helping investors navigate the precious metals market for over 2 decades. They specialize in wealth management and have unique investment strategies tailored for gold IRAs.
So they bring a lot of experience to the table.
Absolutely. Now let's address some of the common questions people have about gold IRAs. First up, can you access your gold whenever you want?
That's a good one. What if you need to tap into your gold for an emergency?
You can access your gold, yes. But there might be some penalties involved, particularly if you withdraw before reaching the age of 59 and a half. Early withdrawals can trigger taxes and potentially a 10% penalty. It's best to think of a gold IRA as a long-term investment for your retirement.
So it's not a quick cash stash.
Right. And another question we often get is about the different types of IRAs out there. You have your traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, SEP IRAs, and of course self-directed IRAs, which is what a gold IRA falls under.
It sounds like there's an IRA for every need.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, just a reminder, if you're feeling overwhelmed by all this gold IRA information, don't worry. There's a free checklist waiting for you at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It'll break down everything we're discussing step by step.
It's a great resource for anyone starting their gold IRA journey. Now let's shift gears a bit and delve into why diversification is so important for your retirement portfolio.
Okay, let's unpack that. I know we've touched on it briefly, but why is it so crucial to diversify?
Diversification is like having a safety net for your investments. By spreading your risk across different asset classes like stocks, bonds, real estate, and precious metals, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
So if one investment takes a hit, your entire portfolio isn't wiped out.
Exactly. And that's where gold can play a particularly valuable role. Gold is considered a safe haven asset because it tends to hold its value during times of economic uncertainty or market volatility.
It's like having a financial anchor in a storm.
That's a great way to put it. When other investments are struggling, gold can help stabilize your portfolio and potentially minimize your losses.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, we've talked about gold as a hedge against inflation and its role in diversification, but what other factors might make a gold IRA a good fit for someone's retirement plan?
Well, for one, gold has historically had a negative correlation with the stock market. What this means is that when the stock market goes down, gold tends to go up and vice versa. This inverse relationship can provide balance and reduce your overall portfolio risk.
That's fascinating. So it's like having a built-in shock absorber for your investments.
Precisely. And another advantage of gold is that it's a tangible asset. Unlike stocks and bonds, which are basically just pieces of paper representing ownership, gold is a physical commodity. You can hold it in your hand.
That tangibility must provide a sense of security for some investors, especially during uncertain times.
Absolutely. And for some, knowing they have a tangible asset with a long history of value can offer peace of mind.
Okay, so we've discussed some of the potential benefits of adding a gold IRA to your retirement portfolio. But like with any investment, there are risks to consider, right?
Of course. It's important to be aware of the potential downsides before making any investment decisions. One risk with gold is that its price can fluctuate, sometimes quite significantly. While gold is known for its stability over the long term, there can be short-term price swings.
So it's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Definitely not. Gold is a long-term investment, and its price can go up and down in the short term.
Right. And another thing to remember is that gold doesn't generate any income. Unlike stocks that pay dividends or bonds that pay interest, gold doesn't produce any cash flow.
That's a valid point. The value of gold lies primarily in its potential for price appreciation, not its ability to generate passive income. So it's not the best investment for someone looking for a steady stream of income from their portfolio.
Makes sense. Now, we've already touched on the IRS rules and regulations surrounding gold IRAs, but it's worth emphasizing those again, right?
Absolutely. You can't just treat your gold IRA like a personal piggy bank. There are those contribution limits, distribution rules, and potential penalties for early withdrawals we mentioned earlier.
Right. And while the IRS has safeguards in place to protect your assets, choosing a reputable custodian who will handle your investments responsibly and ensure compliance with all those regulations is absolutely crucial.
It's like finding a reliable financial advisor who you can trust to guide you through the process and protect your interests.
And if anyone is feeling overwhelmed or unsure about any aspect of gold IRAs, remember our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive can help.
It's a great resource packed with information, tips, and guidance to make the process as smooth and straightforward as possible.
Now let's address some common misconceptions about gold IRAs. One we hear a lot is that they are only for the wealthy. Is that true?
Not at all. Gold IRAs are accessible to anyone who's eligible to open a traditional IRA. It's not a millionaires only club.
That's good to know. Another misconception is that gold is inherently a risky investment. What's your take on that?
All investments have some level of risk, but gold has a long and well-documented history of holding its value even during times of economic turmoil. In fact, many view it as a safe haven asset that can help protect your portfolio when other investments are struggling.
So it's not as volatile as some people might believe.
Exactly. While there can be short-term price fluctuations, gold's long-term track record of stability makes it a valuable asset for diversification and risk management.
We also hear from people who think gold IRAs are too complicated to set up and manage. Is that really the case?
It's understandable that people might think that given the specific rules and regulations involved. However, with the help of a knowledgeable custodian and expert guidance, the process can be relatively straightforward. Remember those experts we mentioned earlier, like Kelly Click, Rand Millwood, and Augusta Precious Metals? They are there to guide you every step of the way.
It's like having a personal gold IRA concierge service.
Exactly. They can answer your questions, address your concerns, and help you make informed decisions aligned with your retirement goals.
So it's not as daunting as it might seem at first glance.
Not at all. With the right resources and support, setting up and managing a gold IRA can be a smooth and even rewarding experience.
And again, don't forget about that free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. Now let's take a step back and look at the historical context of gold as an investment.
Gold has been a store of value for thousands of years. Ancient civilizations treasured gold for its beauty, durability, and scarcity, using it as currency adornment and a symbol of wealth and power.
So it's not just a modern-day investment fad.
Not at all. Gold has a rich and fascinating history that spans centuries and continents.
And throughout history, gold has held its value remarkably well, weathering countless wars, economic crises, and political upheavals.
Precisely. That enduring value is a testament to gold's intrinsic qualities and its appeal as a safe haven asset.
So even though the world has changed dramatically over the centuries, gold's allure as a store of value remains.
Absolutely. And that's precisely why gold continues to be a popular investment choice for people seeking to preserve their wealth and protect their financial futures. It's like a financial time machine connecting us to the wisdom and experience of generations past.
That's a great way to put it. Now let's bring it back to the present day. What are some factors driving the current demand for gold?
Well, one major factor is the current economic climate. We're living in a time of unprecedented uncertainty with rising inflation, geopolitical tensions, and a volatile stock market. It's a bit like a financial storm brewing.
So it's natural for people to seek shelter in a safe haven asset like gold during turbulent times.
Exactly. And during these times, investors often turn to gold to preserve their wealth and protect themselves from potential losses. It's like having a financial life raft in turbulent seas. Another factor driving demand is the growing awareness of diversification's importance.
So it's not just about fear and uncertainty, but also a more strategic approach to investing.
Precisely. More and more investors are recognizing the benefits of spreading their risk across different asset classes, and gold is seen as an essential component of a well-diversified portfolio. It's like adding a golden layer of protection to your financial foundation.
And let's not forget about central banks. Many around the world are increasing their gold reserves, adding to overall demand and supporting gold prices.
That's right. Central banks are major players in the gold market, and their actions can significantly impact prices. It's like a vote of confidence from the financial heavyweights, which further reinforces gold's status as a valuable and enduring asset.
With all this demand for gold, it's no surprise that gold IRAs are becoming increasingly popular.
Absolutely. Gold IRAs offer a convenient and tax-advantaged way for people to add gold to their retirement portfolios.
And remember, if you're interested in learning more about gold IRAs, our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive is a great resource to get you started. It's packed with information, tips, and guidance to help you make informed decisions about your retirement savings.
That's an invaluable tool. Now let's delve a bit deeper into precious metals investing.
Sounds good. What are some other precious metals investors might consider for their portfolios?
Well, besides gold, there's silver, platinum, and palladium. Each of these metals has its own unique characteristics and investment potential. The world of precious metals is quite diverse.
So it's not a one-metal show.
Not at all. For example, silver is often called poor man's gold because it's more affordable than gold. It has industrial uses too, as well as investment appeal.
It's a bit more down-to-earth than gold.
You could say that. And platinum and palladium are primarily industrial metals, but they also have investment value. They're used in catalytic converters for cars and jewelry and electronics.
So they're a bit more practical, but still valuable.
Precisely. And like gold, they can offer diversification benefits and potential protection against inflation.
It's like having a whole toolbox of precious metals to choose from.
That's a great way to put it. And remember, those IRS rules and regulations apply to all precious metals held in a gold IRA. They need to meet specific purity standards and be stored with an approved custodian.
Right. It's not a free-for-all when it comes to choosing metals for your IRA.
Exactly. Choosing the right mix of precious metals for your portfolio depends on your individual investment goals, risk tolerance, and time horizon.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Absolutely. And that's where those experts we mentioned earlier, Kelly, Click, Rand Millwood, and Augusta Precious Metals, can be incredibly valuable.
They can help tailor a plan specific to your needs.
Exactly. They can help you navigate the complexities of precious metals investing and develop a personalized strategy. It's like having a personal precious metals advisor in your corner.
That's a great resource to have. And remember, if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure about where to begin, our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive is a great starting point.
Absolutely. It'll walk you through the process step by step and provide valuable insights to help you make informed decisions.
Now let's move on to the practical aspects of investing in precious metals. What are some things people should consider when getting started?
One of the first things is how you want to invest. You can buy physical metals, coins and bars, or invest in precious metals ETFs or mutual funds. You have options.
So which approach is better?
Each method has its own advantages and disadvantages. Physical metals give you tangibility and direct ownership, but they require storage and insurance. It's like having a real treasure chest, but with added responsibilities.
I can see how that could be appealing to some investors. What about ETFs and mutual funds?
ETFs and mutual funds offer convenience and diversification, but you don't have direct ownership of the metals. So it's a trade-off between control and convenience.
Interesting. So what about where to buy precious metals? Are there any specific things to look for?
Choosing a reputable dealer offering competitive prices and authentic products is essential. It's like finding a trustworthy jeweler, but for investment metals. And remember, if you're investing in physical metals, you'll need to arrange for secure storage.
Right, you can't just stash your gold bars into the mattress.
You could store them at home in a safe or secure vault. But many people opt to use a professional storage facility like a bank or depository for added security.
So there are options for every level of security concern.
Exactly. Another practical consideration is insurance. It's wise to ensure your precious metals are insured against loss, theft, or damage. It's like having a safety net for your precious metals.
And if you're setting up a gold IRA, the custodian will handle those storage and insurance details.
That's right. It's one less thing to worry about.
That's definitely a plus. As we wrap up this part of our discussion, I think it's important to emphasize that investing in precious metals is a long-term strategy. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but rather a way to preserve your wealth, protect your purchasing power, and add diversification to your portfolio. It's like building a financial fortress brick by precious metal brick.
Well said.
And if you are interested in learning more about gold IRAs and how precious metals can fit into your retirement plan, our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive is a fantastic resource. It's packed with information, tips, and guidance to help you make informed decisions about your financial future. We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing the practicalities of adding precious metals to your portfolio.
Yes, we were talking about different ways to invest in metals, like buying physical bullion or investing in ETFs and mutual funds. Is there a best way to approach this? It really depends on your individual circumstances and investment goals. Physical metals offer that tangible ownership, you can actually hold them, which appeals to some investors. But they also come with storage and insurance responsibilities.
Right, and you mentioned using a safe at home or a professional depository. Are there other options for storing physical precious metals?
Some investors choose to store their metals with a trusted family member or friend, but that comes with its own set of considerations and potential risks.
I imagine security is a top priority for anyone storing precious metals. What are some of the security features people should look for in a storage facility?
Good question. You want to look for a facility with multiple layers of security, like 247 monitoring surveillance cameras, motion detectors, and secure vaults. It's also important to check their track record. Have there been any past security breaches? And what kind of insurance do they carry? You want to make sure your investment is well protected.
It sounds like doing your due diligence is crucial when selecting a storage facility.
Absolutely. It's worth taking the time to research different options and compare their features, security measures, and fees. Don't be afraid to ask questions and make sure you feel comfortable with the facility you choose.
Now let's talk about insurance. You mentioned that physical metals need to be insured. What kind of insurance should people consider?
You'll want a policy that specifically covers precious metals, as not all homeowners or renters insurance policies will adequately protect such a specialized asset.
So you need a separate policy. What kind of things should that policy cover?
It should cover loss, theft, and damage. And it's important to make sure the coverage amount is enough to replace your metals at their current market value. Gold and other precious metals can fluctuate in price, so you don't want to be underinsured.
That's a good point. So we've covered physical metals. What about those other ways to invest in precious metals, like through ETFs or mutual funds?
Those can be a good option for investors who want exposure to precious metals without the hassle of physical ownership and storage.
What are the benefits of going that route?
Well, ETFs and mutual funds offer a way to diversify your investment within the precious metals sector. For example, you could invest in a fund that tracks the price of gold, silver, platinum, and palladium.
So you're not putting all your precious metal eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And ETFs and mutual funds are generally more liquid than physical metals, meaning you can buy and sell them more easily. They're also typically managed by professionals, which can be a plus for investors who don't have the time or expertise to manage their own precious metals portfolio.
Sounds pretty convenient. Are there any downsides to investing in precious metals through ETFs or mutual funds?
One potential downside is that you don't have direct ownership of the physical metals. So, if something were to happen to the fund or the market as a whole, you wouldn't have those tangible assets to fall back on.
That's an important distinction. It sounds like there are pros and cons to both approaches, physical metals versus ETFs and mutual funds, and it really comes down to personal preference and investment goals.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that you don't have to choose just one approach. Some investors choose to hold a combination of physical metals and precious metal ETFs or mutual funds in their portfolios.
That's a good point. It's all about finding the right mix that aligns with your risk tolerance and investment strategy.
Exactly. And it's always a good idea to consult with a financial advisor who can help you evaluate your options and make informed decisions.
Speaking of seeking guidance, we've mentioned experts like Kelly Click and Rand Millwood, who can help investors navigate the world of gold IRAs and precious metals investing. Can you tell us a little more about their expertise and how they can be valuable resources?
Certainly. Kelly Click is a leading authority on self-directed IRAs. She's known for her deep understanding of IRS regulations and her ability to guide investors through the complexities of setting up and managing these accounts.
So she's the go-to person for all those technical details and rules.
Exactly. She can help you avoid costly mistakes and ensure your gold IRA is structured properly. Rand Millwood, on the other hand, is a renowned precious metals investment specialist.
What kind of expertise does he bring to the table?
He spent years analyzing market trends, evaluating investment opportunities, and helping investors make strategic decisions when it comes to precious metals.
So he can help investors navigate the ups and downs of the precious metals market.
Precisely. He can provide valuable insights into things like market cycles, supply and demand dynamics, and geopolitical events that can influence the price of gold and other precious metals.
And we've also talked about Augusta precious metals. What makes them stand out in the world of gold IRAs and precious metals investing?
Augusta Precious Metals has a long-standing reputation for integrity and transparency. They focus on educating their clients and empowering them to make informed decisions about their investments. They also have a team of experienced professionals who provide personalized guidance and support throughout the entire process.
It sounds like they take a very client-centric approach.
They do. They have a strong track record of helping investors achieve their financial goals and secure their retirement futures.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the key things investors should consider when choosing a gold IRA company. What are some red flags to watch out for?
That's a great question. One red flag is high-pressure sales tactics. If a company is pushing you to make a decision quickly or trying to scare you into investing, it's a sign that they might not have your best interests at heart.
So it's important to take your time and do your research before making any commitments.
Absolutely. Another red flag is a lack of transparency. If a company is being evasive about their fees, their storage practices, or their investment strategies, it's a cause for concern.
Transparency is key in any financial relationship. What else should people be wary of?
You also want to be cautious of companies that make unrealistic promises or guarantees about returns. Remember, no investment is without risk, and precious metals are no exception.
Right. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. What are some positive signs to look for in a gold IRA company?
You want a company with a solid track record, a strong reputation in the industry, and a team of experienced professionals who are knowledgeable about precious metals and IRS regulations.
And it's always a good idea to check online reviews and see what other investors are saying about their experiences with a particular company.
Absolutely. Independent reviews can provide valuable insights into a company's customer service investment approach and overall reliability.
Now let's talk about the tax implications of gold IRAs. What are some of the key things investors need to know?
Well, just like with traditional IRAs, your contributions to a gold IRA may be tax deductible depending on your individual circumstances, and your earnings will grow tax deferred until you start taking distributions in retirement.
So you can potentially save on taxes both now and in the future.
Exactly. However, it's important to remember that distributions from a gold IRA are taxed as ordinary income. And if you take distributions before age 59 and a half, you may be subject to a 10% early withdrawal penalty.
So it's crucial to understand the tax implications before investing in a gold IRA and to plan your withdrawals strategically to minimize your tax liability.
Absolutely. And it's always a good idea to consult with a tax advisor who can provide personalized guidance based on your individual situation.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground today. from the basics of gold IRAs and precious metals to the practicalities of investing and choosing a reputable company. As we wrap up this segment, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think it's important to emphasize that knowledge is power when it comes to investing. The more you understand about gold IRAs, precious metals, and the factors that can influence their prices, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions.
And remember, you don't have to go it alone. There are experts like the ones we've mentioned today who can provide valuable guidance and support.
Exactly. Don't hesitate to reach out for help and leverage the resources available to you. And if you're looking for a comprehensive guide to choosing the right gold IRA company, be sure to check out our free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive.
It's a fantastic resource filled with valuable tips and insights. We'll be back after a short break to wrap up our discussion. Welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the ins and outs of gold IRAs to the nuances of precious metals investing.
That's right. We've talked about the benefits of diversification, the importance of choosing the right custodian, and even debunked some common misconceptions about gold IRAs.
Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the current state of the precious metals market. What are some of the key trends you're observing?
Well, one trend that's been particularly noteworthy is the growing demand for gold from central banks around the world.
We touched on that briefly earlier. Why are central banks so keen on adding gold to their reserves?
There are a few reasons. First, gold is seen as a safe haven asset that can help protect a country's wealth during times of economic uncertainty.
It's like a global insurance policy.
Exactly. Second, gold is a tangible asset that's not subject to the same risks as fiat currencies, which can be devalued by inflation or government policies.
So it's a way for central banks to diversify their holdings and reduce their exposure to those risks.
Precisely. And third, gold is a globally recognized store of value that can be easily traded on international markets. This makes it a valuable asset for central banks to hold in case they need to access liquidity quickly.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. What about the demand from individual investors? Are you seeing any notable trends there?
Yes. We're seeing a growing interest in gold IRAs as more and more people seek to diversify their retirement portfolios and protect their savings from the erosive effects of inflation.
It's like people are realizing that their golden years deserve a little bit of actual gold.
Exactly. And with the current economic climate being as uncertain as it is, it's not surprising that people are looking for ways to safeguard their financial futures.
Now, you've spent years analyzing the precious metals market. What are some of the key factors that you believe will influence gold prices in the coming years?
Well, as we've discussed, inflation is a major driver of gold prices. If inflation continues to rise, as many economists predict, it's likely to support higher gold prices.
So keeping an eye on those inflation numbers is key. What other factors should people pay attention to?
Interest rates are another important factor. When interest rates rise, it can make holding gold less attractive because investors can earn a higher return on other assets like bonds.
So there's an inverse relationship between interest rates and gold prices.
That's right. And geopolitical events can also have a significant impact on gold prices. During times of global uncertainty or conflict, investors often flock to gold as a safe haven asset, driving up demand and prices.
It's like gold is a barometer of global stability.
In a way, yes. And lastly, technological advancements, particularly in the areas of renewable energy and electric vehicles, could potentially increase demand for certain precious metals like silver, platinum, and palladium, which are used in these technologies.
So it's not just about gold. The entire precious metals complex could be impacted by these technological advancements.
Precisely. It's an exciting time to be following the precious metals market as there are so many factors at play that could shape its future direction.
Now, as we wrap up our deep dive into gold IRAs and precious metals, what are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
First and foremost, I encourage everyone to do their due diligence. Research different gold IRA companies, compare their fees and services, and make sure you feel comfortable with the custodian you choose.
It's like choosing a financial partner for your golden years. You want to make sure you're in good hands.
Absolutely. Second, remember that investing in precious metals is a long-term strategy. Don't expect to get rich quick. Instead, focus on building a solid foundation for your financial future by diversifying your portfolio and protecting your purchasing power.
It's about playing the long game and weathering those inevitable market storms.
Exactly. And lastly, don't be afraid to seek expert guidance. There are professionals out there who can help you navigate the complexities of gold IRAs and precious metals investing and create a personalized strategy that aligns with your unique goals and risk tolerance.
It's like having a trusted guide to help you navigate the golden path to a secure retirement. And speaking of guidance, I want to remind our listeners about that free checklist available at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive.
It's a fantastic resource that breaks